Move on here. Happy to have the governor here. Today is voting day in Utah with municipal primaries taking place for mayor, city council, and more.
In addition to discussing the importance of those local votes, we want to talk with him about the redistricting drama that's happening across the country in Texas and California.
Even in Utah.
And how Utah could finally have a decision on our congressional maps. When did redistricting start here? When you were still in office, right?
Well, we always redistrict every census year,
right.
So about every 10 years there's a need to review and decide whether we've apportioned the districts correctly. That's really the legislative prerogative. Most all states have the legislature make those decisions. Some have added the commission. Some, a lot of them are just advisory as opposed to mandatory. And I know that's part of the squabble we have here in Utah. Is it mandatory or is it voluntary? Just as a recommending body, and does the legislature have to follow the recommendations of the commission?
Well, the advisory commission, they issued their maps, and then the legislature issued a different one. That's the
well,
problem,
first there
right?
was an initiative that was passed creating the commission to help, and it was kind of like a whatever they say. It's a nonpartisan, supposedly fair way to draw up the districts. And then the legislature modified that piece of legislation by saying it was just an advisory commission. And there's been now the lawsuit about whether it is or is not, and that could come out any day.
I want to come back, talk a little bit more about redistricting, but we saw the video there of voting going on, and this is primary election day for the local municipalities. And why are these races so important? I mean, I think they're very important because it's the local level.
Well, I come from local government, so I have probably a bias of how important local government is. It's really where the rubber meets the road. Most of us get our services from government at the local level, whether it's the municipal elections, the cities, or the counties that, in fact, address many of the issues that
you were county commissioner for a number of
14 years. And so it's important. I recall, and it's not that long ago, kind of illustrates that sometimes the spirit is willing, the flesh is weak. We know we should do it, and it does take some effort to get out and vote. But after September 11th, probably a time when I saw patriotism at its highest, we actually sold out of flags in the state of Utah. After September 11th, we were very patriotic. We sang the Star Spangled Banner with a little more enthusiasm, and we had, where they ran out of flags in elementary school, they put an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, made flags on, and taped them to the windows of your car. But then came elections 2 months later, and we had about a 27% voter turnout.
Well, and voting is probably one of the most patriotic things you can do.
It is. That's the kind of the dichotomy there, is where we feel about it, but we don't do about it. And again, when you think about choosing your mayors, your city council people, your road bonds. Right now we have a school district in Utah County. Alpine School District has been split up, and who you're going to have put on your school board. These are very important issues and very important elections, and it controls a lot of money and policy that impacts us on a day-to-day basis.
Right,
so,
even at the primary level.
Oh yes, it's just you can't get to the general unless you get the primary done first. So that's how we weed out who we want to have in the finals. So today you need to get out and vote. You can't mail it. You want to make sure it gets in there today by 8 o'clock.
How do you do your homework on local candidates? I don't know everyone on my ballot. So how do I do the homework to find out who they are and if I agree with them?
If you want to find out, you can find out. There's a lot of information out there. You can talk to the city people that are running, and a lot of people are involved, call a current incumbent. A lot of them are running again, and maybe they're supporting somebody else. There's certainly flyers. I've got a bunch of them in my home in Orem of people saying,
but everybody sounds great on the flyers.
Well, that's true. There is some need for us to actually delve a little deeper, ask questions, show up to meet the candidate nights, ask the tough questions. What are you going to do with the budget? How are we going to take care of the potholes in front of my house or in my business? I mean, what are you going to do downtown? You're covering a big fire. The fire people, what are we going to be doing for public safety? Those are important issues that impact us every day, and we have to have, as a responsibility of a good citizen, to ask them questions, get out and find out, rather than be force-fed, because sometimes that doesn't happen.
Are there any local races that maybe stand out more than others that you kind of have an eye on?
The one that I'm most concerned about is, in fact, the school board. with this division of Alpine
Yeah.
School District into 3 different school districts now. Who you're going to have on your school board in this district is really important. They spend a lot of money. It's a very important thing about our educational system. And no matter whether you like school choice and vouchers, whether you homeschool, our school districts are important. Most, 95% of all the students we have in the state of Utah will go through a public education system. And it's a very good one. But how you spend the money, what you do, input from parents, those are all important aspects of this election cycle. So get out and vote.
And it's going to be a couple years before it's all settled, that the splitting up of Alpine's the biggest school district in the state, and then it's going to be split into 3. It's going to take a process, but the people in charge of that process are who we're voting for now.
Yeah.
That's right. And of course, we've had a little bit, that's been a little bit of drama too in Alpine School District. It was the biggest. It did feel like maybe we need to split, but was forced to have Orem exit. That was overturned by the people saying we're not going to do that. Then we come up with the legislature saying, well, we're divided into 3s. Whether we like that or not, that's what we're stuck with. So get out. That's an important election.
Okay. Just a few seconds. We wanted to ask you about what's going on in Texas with redistricting, where Democrats actually left the state, so they didn't have to get involved in that vote.
Both sides, are kind of acting a little bit childish, and again, that's the power. The party in power wants to call the tune that we dance to. It's unusual. In fact, I think it's very, maybe hasn't happened only once or twice in our history, where somebody midstream on the 5th year decides we're going to redistrict. We do the census every 10 years, so we got coming up on 2030. We'll have redistricting again in 2032. And sometimes, if we'll gain a seat. We might gain a seat here in Utah in 2030 with a new census. And we'll have to redistrict and decide how we do that. That's the legislature's responsibility. And we're trying to, I know there's efforts to try to say we don't trust the legislature. They'll just be partisan. And actually the Supreme Court's not helped on this saying you can't discriminate against gender, race, ethnicity. But we will not take a position on whether you have too many Democrats or Republicans. They're staying out of the partisan aspect of it. So there is kind of a green light that legislators can be partisan in how they gerrymander the lines to suit their own purposes.
Well, and the states are different. Texas, the legislature can approve it. In California, it needs voters to approve it.
The Constitution just tells us we have to apportion and do census every 10 years. It really doesn't say much about how to do that.
Right.
And so all states, we have our own ways of doing it. We added the laws, our state laws and our state constitution. And so we are not all the same.
Okay. Well, Governor Herbert, thank you very much for being with us. We love
Happy to be here.
Have you
a lot
in
of
here.
things going on.
Yes,
that's right.
busy morning.
That's right.
Yeah.